So today we are going to study about staphylococcal scarlet skin syndrome, and this disease is also known as staphylococcal epidermal necrolysis. Okay. So staphylococcal scarlet skin syndrome is also known as Ritter disease, and this is a disease which is most commonly seen among the newborn children. So here the disease composed of a spectrum of superficial skin blistering diseases which is mainly caused by certain exfoliative toxins produced by the Staphylococcus aureus organisms. So here the Staphylococcus aureus organism will be producing certain kind of toxins, and these toxins will cause exfoliative lesion of the epidermis. Okay. So as I already said you, so this is usually developing following an erythematous cellulitis in the body. So here the disease may vary from a few blisters which can be localized to a particular area to the entire body infection. Okay. So let's see regarding the etiology of the disease, and it is believed that the disease is mainly caused by Staphylococcus aureus. So various types of Staphylococcus aureus is included. In that, group 2 Staphylococcus aureus are responsible for the staphylococcal scarlet skin syndrome. And these exotoxins produced by the organism is a kind of protein, and there are mainly two types of protein, type A and type B. In that, type B protein toxin is responsible for the exfoliation of the skin. And these exotoxins, they will cause the separation of the epidermis from the granular cell layer. Okay. Now we'll see regarding the epidemiology of the disease. And this is believed that the disease is primarily a disease of the children. And most of the children, that is 62%, will be less than 2 years. And this is usually reported among those children, those who are breastfed from the mothers with the Staphylococcus aureus breast abscess. So if the mother is having the Staphylococcus breast abscess, and if the mother is breastfeeding the child is very prone to get this disease. An outbreak of the disease is also reported in the newborn nurseries as well as the ICUs, and there is no gender prediction. Both the genders are equally distributed. Okay. Now we'll see regarding the pathophysiology of the disease. So as I already said you, the disease is mainly caused by the Staphylococcus aureus toxins. And these toxins are responsible for the separation of the cells from the granular layer. So usually the disease will be beginning as an initial infection, and this infection can be the oral cavity, nasal cavity, throat or the umbilicus. And these toxins, they will produced by the infecting Staphylococcus species are responsible for the skin separation, and this will be causing exfoliation of the skin from the body. The clinical types, so there are mainly two types of staphylococcal scarlet skin syndrome is existing. First one is a localized form and the second one is a generalized form. In the localized form, there is only a patchy involvement of the epidermis will be there. And in case of a generalized form, from the remote infection site, the infection will be spreading all over the body. Okay. So let's see regarding the clinical manifestation. So the child will be having general malaise will be there, fever, then irritability, skin tenderness, then tenderness on palpation and warmth to touch, and facial edema will be there, and the child may be having any conjunctivitis, then perioral crusting will be there, and because of the skin lesion the child may be having the symptoms of dehydration as well as the exfoliation of the skin. So now see regarding the diagnostic method, how we can diagnose this condition. So usually history is collected from the parents regarding any recent infection, and physical examination is performed, and a remote infectious site like umbilical cord infection or any oral cavity, nasal mucosa, all these are examined for any running infection. Blood studies are usually carried out, especially the WBC count will be elevated. Then ESR will be frequently elevated. Then a polymerase chain reaction serum test is carried out to identify the toxins, the exotoxins produced by the organism. Then the skin lesions can be sent for the culture so that the organism can be yielded. Then a blood culture also carried out. Regarding the therapeutic management, so once this disease is diagnosed, treatment consists of supportive care and eradication of the primary infection. So the child here need fluid rehydration and topical wound care, which is similar to that of a thermal burn patient. And proper treatment and proper antibiotic therapy can be very helpful for the management of this disease. So in the medical management, clindamycin is used to inhibit the bacterial ribosomal production. And fluid rehydration also very essential. So here lactate or ringer solution 20 ml per kg is given as a initial bolus. And this initial bolus is repeated by the maintenance therapy with the considering the fluid loss from the exfoliated skin, and we are considering here the patient as same that of a burns patient. And here, steroids are not usually indicated because the steroid can worsen the immune function. They reduce the immunity, and further there are chances of infection. So usually steroids are not given. And non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents are given to the child. Then topical wound care is given, especially in case of severe exfoliation of the skin. And this culture has been sent from the exfoliated side as well as the nose, throat, then umbilical cord to identify the organism. And regarding the nursing management, so the nurse has to monitor the skin condition regularly and provide meticulous skin care, assess the umbilical cord for any potential source of infection, regularly provide skin, eye, and cord care to the child, and closely monitor the vital signs including BP, and the urine output and renal function has to be constantly monitored, and maintain the fluid status. So these all are the common nursing management the nurse has to follow. So I think you got an idea regarding staphylococcal scaly skin syndrome. So thank you.